Chalk Nation, welcome to the Chalk Performance Training app, and I wanted to make sure that we had at least one video in here where we break down everything about nutrition, because nutrition is gonna be the cornerstone of all the results that we get in our fitness journey. So first and foremost, if you guys do not know your total daily energy expenditure, that is how many calories you need to consume to not lose weight or gain weight, just your basic maintenance calories, right? So to find your maintenance calories, what you're gonna do is get something called your total daily energy expenditure. And what you're gonna do is go to chalk.training. So go to the URL address, and then when you go there, just click standard calculator. And then what you're gonna do is put in your height, your weight, your age, your activity level, all these different things, and then you're gonna get your calories. So let's just say, for example, you get 2,000 calories. Once you get that 2,000 calories, you're gonna have to see what kind of goals you have from here that you want to achieve, whether it's to cut, whether it's to maintain, or whether it's to bulk. Because if you're gonna cut, we're gonna have to slash some calories down. If you're gonna bulk, we're gonna have to increase some calories above your maintenance calories. So now let's get into like the nitty gritty of what that actually looks like. You go to the website, you get your calories, we have to choose our goal. Once we choose that goal, whether it's to cut, maintain, or bulk, we have to now break down the macros, which are our fats, proteins, and carbs, and then we have to track it. So to track your calories, I recommend either the MyFitnessPal app or the Macro Factor app. I found these to be some of the best apps out there, but there's several other ones out there that you guys might want to use over these ones, and that's completely fine. But here's what I like a lot about these apps, is you can input your calories or you can scan your calories. So a lot of times the foods that we eat have a barcode on the back of them, and these apps, you can just take the app, scan the back of the food package, and then just put the serving size in, and it'll just automatically populate the number of calories that you just ate. And if you're eating something where, you know, let's say you have like a Gatorade and it says 240 calories, you could just take, or you could just go into these apps and search Gatorade and then find it versus scan it. Or you could just take the 240 calories, let's just say it's all from carbohydrates, and just type in however many carbohydrates that you ate, and that'll just automatically go into the app as well. And then as you start to put your calories in, there's gonna be a little pie graph, and the pie graph is gonna start to kind of separate between fats, proteins, and carbs. So now as you start to like fill in this pie graph, based off of your goal, there's gonna be certain macro splits that are better than others. This is where we get into this area here. So essentially, if you wanted to cut, I'm a big fan of 40% carbs, 40% protein, and 20% fat. And what this is gonna do is by having a higher protein intake, it's gonna make you really, really full with the foods that you have. Because when you're cutting, you're gonna be in a deficit. You're gonna be cutting calories. So you're gonna be under your maintenance calories. So when we're under our maintenance calories, we get super hungry. So ideally, we move our macros around so that we eat the kind of foods that make us really full. So the higher the protein, the more full you're gonna feel. If you increase your fat and increase your carbs and lower your protein on a cut, you're gonna be really, really hungry. Now, on the opposing side of that, if you were to bulk, we would increase our carbohydrates to 55%, we would decrease our protein to 25%, and then make our fat 20%. So you're gonna have a carb-heavy diet when you guys are bulking. And why would we do that? Because the easiest macro to eat a ton of is carbohydrates. Like when you guys think about the foods that you typically overeat on, it's usually carbohydrates. So when we bulk, we're gonna have a very different macro split than when we cut. Does this mean that this is the end-all, be-all split that you should do? No, you can kind of move these numbers all over the place. However, one of the biggest complaints that I get when people are bulking is, I can't eat enough food. Like I feel like I can't eat more. And I think a lot of you guys right now, you're listening to me right now, you're like, that's me, that's me. It's like, if you can't eat more, then make sure you guys organize your calories in such a way where it helps you eat more. So if you're eating more carbohydrates in your diet, and you're planning your meals around more carbs, like more rice, more like bananas, you know, when you go to work or whatever, maybe you're drinking Gatorade that has a lot of carbs in it, maybe you're having cereal for breakfast or whatever you gotta do to get those calories in, it's gonna be a lot easier to do that than it would be to eat more chicken breast, like, right? We can't just eat more chicken breast, it's too hard to do. And then some of you guys might be thinking, well, am I gonna lose muscle if I'm not eating enough protein? And it's like, well, you're not in a calorie deficit. And typically you would lose muscle mass if you're in a deep deficit and then you're eating very low protein. So because you're not in a deficit, you're not in a calorie deficit, so you can actually have less protein. So 0.6, 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. And then when we're maintaining and when we're cutting, we wanna definitely have like 1 gram per pound of body weight, which is typically gonna be around that 25% mark. So now you're gonna see these question marks that I have on maintenance. Maintenance really is super easy because once you get to where you wanna be, I like to have like 25% of the calories from your protein or 1 gram per pound of body weight. And then your carbs and your fats can kind of just float around, completely up to you. Like you can have a lot more flexibility in your diet diet when your goal is just to maintain. Overall, you can have, you know, flexibility if you want, but in reality, the reason I broke these down the way that I did is because it helps you achieve the goal a lot easier. So again, let's just do a quick recap because I know I'm talking a lot. You guys are gonna get that total daily energy expenditure on chalk.training. You're gonna then choose your goal, whether it's to cut, maintain, or bulk. You're gonna break down the macros. So let's just say, for instance, you got 2,000 calories. Then you're gonna break them down into one of these percentages here, and then you're gonna track it on the app. And then as you track it on the app, whether you input or scan your calories, if you're making a lot of your own food, you're probably gonna be inputting. If you're eating a lot of like packaged foods and stuff like that, you can definitely scan the majority of your calories. But as these go in, you're gonna have that little pie graph and you're gonna see it start to move around as you put your protein in, as you put your carbs in, as you put your fats in. And you wanna start to fall right around these numbers here. And then after you guys do this for a few weeks, you'll be able to just be on automatic mode. You'll start looking at things and you'll be like, banana, 100 calories, apple, 80 calories. Like you're gonna start looking at stuff and you're gonna know exactly how many calories they are right out the gate. I have a challenge for everybody right now watching this video. And what I want you to do is track every single thing that you eat for 2 weeks. You could do 1 week and be good, but at the 2-week mark, you are really, really good at eyeballing everything. Now, I know some of you guys might be like, well, what if I go out to eat? It's gonna be a little bit harder. I definitely recommend like not going out to eat just for 2 weeks for me. Worst case scenario, at least do this Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday if you wanna go out to eat. And then on that Monday and Friday for the next following week, track it all right? So at least get good 10 days of tracking in out of a 14-day period. And I promise you, you're gonna open the fridge and you're just gonna look at stuff and you're gonna know exactly what it is. And the other thing that's really good about tracking your calories is sometimes a lot of people just don't understand what they're eating, and they don't understand like, are they under eating? Are they overeating? Is their favorite food actually a lot less calories than they thought? Is their favorite fruit a lot more calories than they thought? I know people who are scared of bananas. They're like, man, I heard bananas are the worst fruit to eat. There's so many calories. Like a good small to medium-sized banana is only 100 calories. Like I actually used to think that for such a long time until I actually started tracking it, and it really wasn't that bad at all. And then you'll start to notice like the food swaps. So like a slice of bread is majority all carbohydrates, and then fruits and vegetables are all carbohydrates as well, and you can eat considerably more of those. That's another thing when you start to cut, and when you start tracking food, all of a sudden you're gonna start to notice like, man, this is not the ideal food I should be eating. I should be eating something like this instead, because my goal is to feel full. And if I can feel full and eat more food than I normally eat and actually get less calories, it's gonna be super easy for me to hit my goal. So you guys are gonna start to realize all these little things. I could tell you so many things that you're gonna realize, but just by tracking for 2 weeks, these things are all gonna come about and you're gonna be like, wow, I can't believe this was this many calories. And even when you go to the grocery store, you're gonna start to look at the back of stuff and be like, whoa, I don't wanna stay away. I wanna stay away from that for sure. A lot of sauces, a lot of like mayos and different types of things you're gonna start to notice have a lot of fat calories in them. And as we know here, a calorie of fat is 9 calories per gram. And then protein is 4 and carbs are 4. So the more fats you eat, you can really start to rack up a lot of calories. It doesn't mean fats are bad. It just means that you can get a lot more calories in with fat. And if we think about this, just like as a short example, like if you have a handful of almonds, it doesn't really make you very full. You don't really feel like, I'm good, right? And you're getting a ton of calories. Like I think 10 almonds is about like 180 calories. Very, very calorie dense. However, if you were to eat like 4 ounces of chicken breast, that's still not even 180 calories and you'd be way more full, right? So there's a trade-off there. So again, I broke these down into the best numbers for you here on the cut, the maintain, and the bulk. Recommend everybody track everything for 2 weeks. And again, if you have never ever got your total daily energy expenditure, AKA your maintenance calories, make sure you guys go to chalk.training, get those numbers, and download either MyFitnessPal or MacroFactor app. If for any reason you don't like these, you can just go on the App Store and kind of look around and see different kinds of nutrition apps that people have available. I hope this helps clear everything up. I think that this is the first thing that everybody should know, because once you understand this, it's gonna be so much easier to hit your goals. And for the amount of people out there who understand nutrition and combine that with their training, I mean, it's just 10 times the results. So I really want everyone to just really lock this stuff in. I hope you guys all take the challenge and do a 2-week tracking effort. And if you do, make sure you guys tag me in all of your stuff on Instagram. Make sure you guys put it in the community and let everybody know that you're tracking your stuff and all the stuff that you're learning along the way, because all the stuff that you learn is the stuff that everybody else needs to be inspired by and motivated by, and they need to learn stuff too. Whatever blew your mind throughout this little 2-week journey, let us all know. We'd love to see it. And there you go, guys. Nutrition 101.